The audience first strategy. I just read a great article linked to by that I've linked to below.I seem to have stumbled along the same path and have written similar posts here in the forum. I may even have come across the Derek Sivers quote before. I'm so pleased it's articulated some of my journey and extrapolated it out ahead. The article talks about building an audience, relationships, and helping people. You and are doing this at scale with your radio show. I think would make a great guest on your shows. I'll link to where he posted about the article shortly. You already built an audience with your books, and are now building a productized service business to help content writers create books. I thought the article might interest and help you. Creating a book is one of the steps in there. Interestingly, I have thought of creating a book but decided to shelve it until I have a better idea of what to create, and why. Are other examples of people doing this? You're the granddaddy of this, although you walked the walk in the entrepreneurial space before building an audience writing about it, which is so refreshing and why we all love you. Is doing this at scale. Thanks for the share. I can see you doing this in your relentless progress thread. I think the article is a great read, hence me sharing it. How's that for a? The article, don't just consume it. Try your hand at putting your thoughts down on paper. My first thought: I prefer not to think of content marketing or building an audience. I prefer to have a goal to help people, and especially, and the rest follows. Related stuff I've written about. Great share, Andy. The article is exactly how I grew my company. Although I used social media as the starting point to grow my audience, it's the same concept. Here's the link to his post where he mentions this article, and where he discusses how his relentless helping people by creating content is opening doors for him. Please share more details. I've always been a fan of content marketing as a way to enter a new industry, get familiar with it, build trust, and then build a business on top of it. I love every business model that requires plain old content hustling, blogging, writing books, podcasting, shooting videos, etc. Yes, it's often saturated, but there are very few people who truly hustle and publish a new content over and over again for months or years on end. If you have the right spirit, I don't think it's possible to fail with this approach, as there's no luck involved, just hustling and putting out more and more content. As it grows, your audience grows, and then it's easier to grow your business, too, assuming you talk about something that's lucrative. Just talking about it makes me want to start a new business, lol. Coincidentally, I had a BF yesterday to write the journey of our 5 dogs over the 10 years we've had them. There's a possibility for a 5-cat story going back 30 years that intertwines with the dogs. I just thought it would be gold for gaining an audience, building trust, credibility, and ultimately launching a brand. Those products are part of the story. Be great to have the gang narrate rather than us. Think various rhetorical devices in a pseudo-noveler style. LOL. Deja vu. P.S. What's a BF? Maybe. I even considered blogging about potatoes for my own nefarious reasons. But with the dogs, I've got a decade of real-life adventures with photos and videos. Should I change the dogs' names to protect their identity? I don't want to get mobbed by fans when I walk them. P.S. My screen name Odysseus was originally for my dog when I opened a Facebook profile for him. He's very cunning and crafty, takes his time getting home too. P.P.S. Blue Falcon. There's nothing too special about it. Social media in 2015 was a little easier to grow organically than it is now, but I still come across new accounts doing it. I'm doing this at the moment. It feels like I can't possibly fail, lol. Some days your brain is fried or you have other things you are thinking about. Coming up with new content can be hard. You have to try keep it interesting and not always talk about the same thing as well. Curate content to. As I'm writing this I could curate it later if it fits. Problem solved. For me this approach was cemented in my head by Amy Hoy. Nathan Barry also learned from her. Btw his journey was not straightforward at all as it seems here. Overall I feel like this approach is very viable. Its strength is in the flexibility and lack of ego. I don't start with my idea, I start with the group of people that I want to serve and then figure out how I can help them. Starting with the smallest education bit, for example an email to someone, a blog post, etc. And gradually building up the products and offers while growing the audience. Just a personal bias maybe, but I feel like I personally have very little patience for content lately. Mostly it's a time waste and mostly very repetitive. Especially for someone that likes to write, I think it's a really great strategy. That's the opportunity. So much content is written for SEO or because, well, content marketing. People forget the goal is to help people with that content or entertain or whatever. I think too many people are following blueprints and formulae and forget what the goal is. I find it comes easy if you're interacting with people. Then you've an endless supply of content. I think as long as you focus on providing value, even if that is content marketing or growing, as long as it's value and people are engaging with you, can't go wrong. Apparently it's not all milk and honey. Here's a thread where the guy is struggling. What is he doing wrong? Can anyone offer some analysis or input on how he can rectify his situation? My bad. I missed out when I tagged a few people in the opening post. If I recall correctly, advisors in his goals says a thread to become an authority before releasing a SaaS product. Pretty much what the article says. From his recent posts it looks to me as if he's realizing that he's been trying to reach his audience on a medium where they're not as engaged. He's been hustling with his blog in a very competitive space. He's now seeing that his YouTube channel is getting way more engagement with much less effort. It would be the exact same with my audience. E-com store owners aren't hanging out on Tumblr blogs. They're in Facebook groups and on YouTube. You can make the best content in the world, but if it's not in the same room as your target audience, then it will never get traction. Looks like the guy in that thread is changing his strategy and going more in on YouTube. I don't think YouTube is the silver bullet, but it does have a lot of potential when done right, especially if that's where your people are hanging out. Super interesting video about building audiences. I love at 6:54ish where she talks about not building a personal brand. What resonated with me? From 6:15 find out what they say about themselves and create content that says that they want validation of who they are. They want to look good to their friends and family. They're commenting knowing their sister's watching, they're sharing knowing someone sees their shares. They're going to share something that tells them that they're successful. Thanks Sandy, I'll watch more of her videos. I'm really liking this business model at the moment. It seems easy, but building the audience itself is the barrier to entry. Few people would go through it. Coming up with new content all the time isn't as easy as it sounds. Another fan of Amy Hoy here. I'm just finishing up 30 by 500 and learned a ton. One thing I like about the idea of moving content onto other platforms, YouTube, Facebook, etc., is that it can scale much further than just your own email list. And that's the whole point. Anyone can use bots and gain followers with like-for-like and other shady tactics online, but it doesn't create an authentic, real following. Unique content, created for your audience does. You can't cheat the process, like so many want to and try to. I am seeing this a lot at the moment. People trying to skip the process. I'm just grinding it out. I don't do follow for follow. Current followers I have, 397, all authentic and genuine. All organic. No paid ads. Just straight content marketing and newsletter hustle. 4 weeks in. People want the instant win. They want 100k followers straight away, without earning it. It just doesn't work that way, no matter how many YouTube videos people watch that say you can cheat the process. There is a few that are truly hustling. There is quite a lot more who are trying to scam people and do the same thing everyone else does. Quite a few piggybacking of large accounts, making it look like it's them, selling them stuff and running with the cash. When that happens to me, I know I've made it. Haha. I'm on the fence. There are quite a lot of companies out there that don't focus so much on building an audience if we are talking social media stuff, but just having a great product or service, having a productocracy, or pushing out marketing. Although for the people focusing on social media content, the productocracy rule applies, like having videos people actually want to watch. Wouldn't it be more efficient as entrepreneurs to hack the process of social media followings and simply pay bigger accounts to give us publicity, or reach out to local news medias? I'm not sure if building an audience and then offering a product or service is the most efficient way of going about it. Not sure. In my own experience this has failed. I actually regret having focused on this. Everyone here can attest to how difficult it is to grow a following on various platforms. Since you posted a few examples, let's pick on MJ just for fun. I follow his IG account and he's got about 18k and a few hundred hits on a post, low engagement 39k on, with the latest videos being about 8k. There's an interesting one where there is about 154k likes for book. Now despite the low social media followings, one of the two greatest books ever written on the entire planet has only 154k likes on FB. I'd guess he sold a lot more than that throughout the world, being the book is almost all over the globe. So my point here is the rule of a productocracy. MJ himself has stated he's only spent $1,000 or $2 on advertising the first book. Really, the book markets itself. Personally, I'm responsible for a few copies sold just by recommending it to other people. I'm not sure if he created the forum before the book or vice versa, which if anyone knows please share. You can see the forum itself revolves around the books. So to play devil's advocate, maybe instead of having an audience first, the more important thing to do rather than investing time into creating an audience, which is a hell of a struggle, is to have a product or service verified first. Building an audience, the product. Since you put the word discussion in the thread, wanted to throw that out there. There's no doubting it works. Obviously not for everyone. I believe the forum came before the books. Will it work for me? I'll report back. BF usually means boyfriend. I'm guessing BF equals best friend? From the language used, points that we're using a BF or BF to write material seems so wrong unless he offered. I just think too many people go into their Batcave without engaging the market soon enough. For me, I'd engage, create, all the while using market feedback to hone a product or service. Steel sharpens steel, not endlessly polishing. The building of an audience doesn't necessarily mean a big audience. You mention getting validation first before building the product. I think we're in agreement. Find one person to help, then another, then another. Before long you've ended up helping lots of people and can recognize what they have in common and what their common problems are and why, and you know what product to scale with. That's my interpretation. I think it's iterative. Neither A then B nor B then A. Speaking of social media, I just wanted to send this post to someone, but that functionality is not here, so I'll tag him publicly instead. Her energy reminded me a lot of you. Might be a route that would work for you. Oh, she seems so lovely. But oh gosh. I'm so ridiculously flighty that even when I had a blog and thousands of followers I couldn't ever quite figure out what to write about or if anything I said even mattered. Fast forward many years and the strategy I was using could have built me a huge audience because, apparently, it's exactly the same strategy that Gary Vee says builds brands. Kind of admit you know nothing but keep trying in full honesty and openness type of thing? But I'm very easily hurt. And 1 or 2 ppl misinterpreting what I'm saying breaks my heart, a bit, you know? Even on this forum I have reached out here and there and been rebuffed enough to realize it's probably better to stay quiet and focus on my own stuff. I know I seem extroverted, but it's just because my heart is so thankful for everyone here and I want everyone to be friends and, well, I want to be friends with everyone here too. I don't feel brave enough to share my whole life and all its ridiculous details with strangers on a blog that my kids could read someday. A big part of my life has been unraveling abuse or narcissism or weird intimacy issues. They deserve to have a mom all to themselves with no online tragic stories connected to them, in any way, whatsoever. When I do share here and there on forums, it's because I feel accepted or I feel a deep desire to help someone else or I've had enough caffeine to fortify my fears. Lol. A lot of caffeine. Lol. Anywho. I can't convince my darling of any of this. He says I should do precisely what you're saying. Build up a following by discussing stuff. And then sell courses, but it sounds preposterous to me because I know so little. As far as I'm concerned, I'd really rather be an integral quiet part of a solid business at work and be loud or gregarious or enthusiastic at play when I'm with my friends, like you. I'm a muddle. Lol. I love you to pieces for thinking of me though. What if you didn't reach out to people first? I've had over 3,000 PMs with forum members where I messaged them to thank them for following or repping me. They already raised their hand to say they liked what I was doing. Not one of them has brushed me off or said anything negative. On the contrary, some have been nicely surprised and I suspect it's helped them settle into the forum and find their feet. Another thing, you don't have to be on camera. I personally don't want to build a personal brand. I just want to help people. If I end up building a personal brand by accident, then so be it. Note how at about 6:50 she says it's not about building a personal brand. True, she's doing that now because she's teaching people how to build businesses like she's already done. Are you doing the world a disservice by hiding under a bushel? Absolutely no caffeine involved there. She's helping PPL and making money though. #rockstar. This is caffeine. She's great. Excuse me, you had a blog with the followers? And how precisely did you get them to follow you? You must have been talking about all things that held their interest and reflected them back to themselves. I also think you're dismissing numbers far too easily. You had thousands of followers, so minimum 2,000. Even if only 6% read and engaged with any particular blog post, numbers-wise, that's kinda like you giving a talk at the summit. And just think about all those awesome people at the summit. Each one is a real awesome person. That's a big deal. Don't dismiss numbers. Well, that's just obviously a nonsense belief you need to kick to the curb. Seriously, don't allow yourself to entertain that thought anymore. It's pure BS. Saying something allows people to connect, and whether you're saying it to one person or to many, it facilitates one of the most fundamental desires of humanity. Connecting with our people is one of the most important things can do. Sure, whatever you're saying might not connect with everyone, but that just lets you find your people. For starters, I shall definitely prescribe large dose of Breen Brown. For seconds, I shall encourage, though I suspect you already have, but whatever you to consider other aspect of your life. We often repeat patterns. If you find it hard to deal with even small failures when dealing with people, and so decide that staying in your own lane is the best course of action, are there any other areas where you're self-censoring and playing too small? Can breaking the pattern in one give you the courage to break that pattern in another? See the energy I was talking about. You absolutely 100% do not have to share this on the internet if you don't want to. Perhaps the first time you watched the video you were looking for the similarities, cause that's why I pointed you to it. Try watching it again and see what she does differently. For example, she grew an audience on cats owning one, she grew a crockpot audience and she doesn't even cook. She is not trying to grow a personal brand. You don't have to share your most personal stories, just find a group of people you love and love on them. Reflect them to themselves. Make them look good. Make them feel good. I know you can do this because I've experienced it. Why I thought of you. Yup. There it is. A deep desire to help someone else. Find a group of those someone else's, and he's right because he know you. Also, you don't have to sell courses. In the video she mentions I think 9 different ways of monetizing, but because they're coming from a place of service you're still helping them. Even an affiliate link to a product that solves a problem they have is a win-win-win. You can just be a connector if you're not yet confident in your own ability to provide a course worth of value. Your call. But if other people, so far I know of at least 2, are seeing something positive in you that you don't see yourself, it might be worth a perspective check. That's work on able. You're welcome. Where's that rep button when you need it? Phew. I've just come off giving a workshop scheduled from 9 p.m. till 10 p.m. Came off at 11 p.m. and people loved it and said they could listen to another hour. Instead of using my flip chart like I normally do, I took inspiration from Rachel Miller and had a clipboard and wrote on that instead. It was so much fun. This is a great interview. BTW. Here's that workshop. Thought-provoking article. It's interesting because I subscribe to this viewpoint too. Run paid ads, get people to the top of the funnel, learn fast without creating so much content. Hey, great thread. Been wondering, what if you work on providing free educational content, but this same kinda content is also in your paid educational content? I have a Facebook group with 550 plus members since June. Organic. We did it by sharing posts on social media that lead to a live webinar. From the webinar, we advise going in the group or buy one of our paid educational courses. I've been thinking about making free content on YouTube or in a blog on our website. Though, it always seems that I'll then write or make content around things that are also in the courses people pay for. This doesn't really sound logical to me as the free content overlaps the paid content. What's your opinion? Thanks in advance. People often pay to have a guide through all the free content. So if you have free content but it's unorganized or there's a lot of it, then the people who value their time will pay to get the shortened and organized version. It happened for me in this forum. I've quite a lot of Google Ads threads and people kept asking if I had a course. I didn't create a course until someone messaged me saying it took them 4 days of 6 hours a day to get through all those threads. I felt I then needed to create a 1-hour course that those who preferred to move faster could pay for. Some people pay to save time. Also, give away what to do and why, and charge for how to do it. That's a good point indeed. Haven't thought about that one. Thanks. I have multiple smaller courses on our page which are still 4 to 8 hours. Using bits and pieces of these courses and put these online in a random order can be a win-win for people and the business. Eventually the whole paid course could be available in all the free content, but it's scattered around. Probably also feels less official. YouTube vid versus a course and learning platform. Some people will go and search everything and watch all the free content and basically look for the whole course online on, let's say, YouTube. While others will go and check out the paid content including worksheets etc. as well. My thinking is that some people will never pay. If they get value from the free content and are prepared to spend their time piecing things together, then cool. I like to think sales is a screening process. Blaze Bros in our market are those who put a value their time and are prepared to pay to get results quicker. Exactly, those will never be clients. However, the positive thing of having free content is that even these people can be walking ambassadors if they talk about your free content to others. That person they talk to might become a future client. Therefore, these free content people might still be very valuable. Thanks for thinking with me. We'll definitely take some action soon. I agree. I think it would be good to have thousands of people consume your free content on YouTube even if they never purchase. If that helps get those videos shown to even more people because YouTube makes money showing ads in those videos, then that's a win-win. Your comment helped me understand what is that advantage that build audience first has its trust. Look, when you have product or service and you start talking about it off the bat, then posts seem like another self-advertising thing. Probably, what you are providing matters even less then. But when people see there's no offer behind your posts, they see advice as genuine and spread it around. I'm using the audience first strategy for the last few months. Some results so far. 1,505 followers. 200 email subscribers. $50 in sales. It's not easy, but more opportunities are starting to open up the larger I get. Growth seems to be speeding up month on month. This is an awesome thread. I'd love to hear about your progress. I'm using the same audience first approach but via educational summits. I'm running my first one next week and just crossed 100 registrations. I thought I was crazy when I set that goal, but here I am. So proud. Would be great to hear how you're going.